Starry-eyed rumblings.
Airlock 54 is the same as any of the other airlocks. But at present, a blue light flows out of the window. Axe. Helix Bane slams her fist against the airlock door with what strength she has left. Axe, graceful as ever, pulsing softly with a fiery blue glow, turns her attention from the blackness of the forge to Helix Bane, who doesn't waste any time with pleasantries. Can you get me to the surveillance room? Quick! Now! Ready to help as always, Axe, hovering slightly, surrounded by lightning blue fire, waits for the door to cycle open. As Helix Bane waits, she tries to wipe off as much acid from her palm of her hand as she possibly can. Axe is one person she genuinely doesn't wish to harm. Axe floats, with arms outstretched, as if welcoming back an unruly child running back to mummy. Which isn't altogether false. The blue fire surrounding Axe reaches and climbs along Helix Bane's arms, then her shoulder, torso, head, legs, until she is completely surrounded. Then the two of them take to the void. Helix Bane does her best to relay what information she can to Axe since last they met, but as always with these flights, it is extremely difficult to focus on anything but the black infinity of the forge. If Axe lets go, if this blue flame flickers out, Helix Bane will be left floating. To where? For how long? Into deeper and deeper black. The thought that the energies of the forge would batter and kill her within seconds snaps her out of the reverie. They arrive at the airlock closest to the surveillance room, and, feeling slightly refreshed from a soundless and weightless flight through the forge, Helix Bane has enough energy to run rather than stagger to the surveillance room. It's not a short distance, 20 minutes, and as Helix Bane reaches the room, it irks her slightly that she forgot to thank Axe again. However, more irksome is the sight of Vang and Julian and Bay. Vang and Julian wear their customary expression of wounded defensive suspicion. Bay is staring pointedly at Helix Bane. She obviously noted the subtle movement of the ship, and judging by Julian and Vang's fairly calm, at least not panicked, reaction to Helix Bane's arrival, Bay hadn't seen fit to inform Julian and Vang of the imminent explosion. Helix Bane ignores the two gentlemen and addresses Bay. Time to go. Bay immediately kicks off the wall she was leaning against and walks over, giving Julian and Vang a sad smile. Julian stands up, now looking slightly more panicked. All of us, right? We're all leaving. The lie springs into Helix Bane's mind and travels to the tip of her tongue in an instant. You two sit tight. Only one at a time. However, perhaps given the imminent doom approaching, she bites her tongue with the few teeth she has left and stops the reply. Helix Bane has always been a survivor and a realist. When she considered herself the best in the business, it wasn't boasting or self-aggrandizing. It was simply reality. In her cohort, she was the best. And her record, her victories, her reputation, backed up the position. Now, however, she knew that wasn't the case. She no longer was the best in the business, and likely hadn't been for some years. She didn't have the strength, nor the reflexes, nor the equipment, no resources, no charm, no appearances, no network. All she had was her own decaying body, her acid, and her shifts, which seemed like fancy new toys, tools to be used to hone her craft. Even though they were powerful and alien, they did not even come close to replacing all that she had lost and all that she had been. With all that in mind, realistically, in her present circumstances, she'll have to be less of a bully. No more carving a path forward to superior force and intellect, and more so accustomed to the former is Helix Bane. You can't quite think of what you'll need to adapt into. But one thing's for certain, it won't involve making unnecessary enemies. So instead she says, "The ship's probably going to blow. Get yourselves off the ship if you can." Good deed for the day done. She doesn't wait around for the response. She turns, assuming Bay will follow, and begins to run back towards the airlock. Only part of Julian's response reaching her. "If we meet again!" "I'll be surprised," Helix Bane finishes for him. Bay is much faster than Helix Bane apparently, and Helix Bane has to push hard just to stay within 10 paces of her. The exertion is making her feel sick. Her insides and the toxins flowing through her veins, sloshing around her body. She spits acid to the side as she runs. Bay periodically blurs, and then clears as Helix Bane blinks away whatever film covers her eyes in the exertion. It isn't such a transition. It happens. Bay stops running. She turns, looks back past Helix Bane, curses. Bay is immediately punished for obscenity as Helix Bane collides into her, wrapping herself, her whole body, around as much of Bay as she can possibly manage, focusing around the head, all the while squeezing, clenching, emptying every artificial gland in her body for every drop of thick, acidic, toxic, viscous fluid she can force will out of the glands, coursing through her veins, pushing out through every extended pore on her skin surface, oozing out of her, covering every inch of her in a thick, viscous ooze. It burns. She can hear Bay beneath her, muffled against her chest, screaming, thrashing. Helix Bane tightens her grip on Bay, her old jiu-jitsu training coming back to her. Bay isn't going anywhere. She remains where she is, screaming into Helix Bane's chest. The mixture of toxins, chemicals, poisons, Helix Bane's not sure, begin to harden shortly after they seep out of her pores. Then, just like Dashin said, boom.